Hi bio class, it's Miss Kinney, and I will be making a series of videos that go along with the notes I've uploaded on Google Classroom. And you can use my videos to fill in the notes that you have on Google Classroom, and then those notes will help you with all the assignments we work on in third and fourth quarter. It's great to see you. I miss you guys, and I can't wait to see you in class. So when you open Google Classroom, you'll see something called Mutations Notes. This document will come up, and based on my video, you can fill in these notes. So what is a mutation? We've been talking about using DNA. Okay, so we have our DNA, and this is our code. And we copy this code into mRNA, okay, in a process called transcription. And then we read this mRNA, and from this mRNA, okay, we use tRNA, mRNA, the ribosome, we make a protein. And this process from mRNA to protein is called translation. So in the end, we've made a protein. This protein could be an enzyme to speed up chemical reactions. It could be a piece of hair. It could be a piece of your muscle. So this entire process here, from DNA to mRNA to protein, is called protein synthesis. And our body relies on protein synthesis to make up our muscles, our hair, our brain cells, our skin cells. Our whole body is made up of proteins. So the question I have for you today is, what if something goes wrong? What if there's a mistake in the DNA, and that mistake is copied into the mRNA? What could happen to the protein? A lot of different things could happen. So we're going to start with that first. We're going to say, okay, what is that mistake in DNA called? What can cause this mistake in the DNA code? Okay, and what could the effects on the protein in your body be? So a mutation is a mistake or change in DNA sequence. And by DNA sequence, I mean the order of the nucleotides. So let's say, for example, the order of the nucleotides was supposed to be AATTG. And there's a mutation, and now the order is AATGG. This T changed to a G. How could this change in the DNA, this mutation, affect the protein? That's what we're going to be learning about today. So what causes these changes in the DNA? Lots of things cause these changes in the DNA. These things that can cause mutations are called mutagen. A mutagen is something that causes a mutation. These could be chemicals, okay, or radiation, like UV radiation from the sun, or nicotine for a chemical, which is found in cigarettes. Okay? Now, mutations can occur in different types of cells. Mutations that occur in our body cells can cause cancer. So mutations that cause cancer occur in our body or our somatic cells. Mutations that are passed down to our children, also called our offspring, occur in our sex cells, in our gametes. Okay? And these types of mutations can cause things called genetic disorders. A genetic disorder is a disease that you can have, but you can't pass to somebody like a cold or anything like that. Okay, and examples of genetic disorders are cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, Down syndrome, things like that. So how significant are mutations? How much can they impact you? Well, there's basically 3 different ways we look at significance of mutations here. Most mutations are neutral, meaning they don't have a positive or a negative effect. So if there's a mutation that causes a change in an eye color or birthmark, this doesn't really affect how your body works. So no big deal. Some mutations are harmful. For example, sickle cell anemia and Down syndrome make you very sick. And some mutations are beneficial or helpful. For example, the same mutation that causes sickle cell anemia also causes resistance to malaria. Some mutations cause immunity to HIV. So mutations can be positive, negative, or neutral. Okay, but mutations are kind of, they lead to variation, which is necessary for evolution. Okay, which is something we talked about at the beginning of the year. There are lots of different types of mutations. So the first two types of mutations I want to talk about are gene mutations. Gene mutations only affect a single gene. Okay, so what is a gene? A gene could be, a gene is something that codes for one protein. Okay, so gene mutations affect one protein. Okay, there are two types of gene mutations we're going to talk about. The first type is called a point mutation. It can also be called a substitution mutation. Okay, a point mutation is when there's a change occurs in one nucleotide. For example, right here is the normal DNA code and the normal protein. Okay, so this is the DNA right here, and this is the normal protein. Down here, this is the mutated DNA and protein. So if we compare the normal DNA to the mutated DNA and we look, okay, this is the same, this is the same, this is the same. Oh, look, here it's a C nucleotide and here it's a G nucleotide. So right here, a C has been traded for a G. So this is a mutation right here, and this affects your protein. This causes a mutated protein because the DNA codes for the protein. And if you change the DNA, you change the protein. But it only changes one small part of the protein because you only switched one nucleotide right there. That's called a point mutation. The second type of gene mutation is called a frame shift mutation. In a frame shift mutation, this is when nucleotides are added or deleted, right? For example, again, here's the normal DNA and protein. Here is the mutated DNA and protein. So you can see here's the normal DNA sequence, but right here, the G, or sorry, what was it before? Sorry, let me look, C-A-T-T-C-C-A-A. This T in the normal DNA has been deleted. This is more harmful, this frame shift mutation is more harmful than this point mutation because when the T was deleted, that shifts the entire nucleotide sequence over. That changes the entire protein. So typically, frame shift mutations are more harmful than point mutations because they change all of the protein after the mutation. So you can see if I make this up for you. They change all of the protein after the mutation. So the point mutation changed one single amino acid. the frameshift mutation, once this T was deleted, all of these nucleotides shifted over one space and the whole protein was changed. Let me give you an example with words, okay? Here's my word example. So in a point mutation, let's say I have this word, fat cat, and I mutate it, and now it says fat rat. Okay, so I switched the letter C for the letter R. It still makes sense. It went from a fat cat to a fat rat, okay? It's a different meaning. This mutation is a different meaning, but we only had one letter changed. Whereas in a frameshift mutation, let's say I started with fat cat and I deleted the F. Now, all these letters are going to shift over. I'm going to have a cat at. That doesn't make any sense because by shifting all these letters over, the entire meaning of the sentence changed. Now, a gene mutation only affects one protein. A gene mutation only affects one protein. What about mutations that affect entire chromosomes? Those are called chromosome mutations. So, let's look at our chromosome mutations. There are 4 types of chromosome mutations.